From Delaware's most award-winning radio news team, this is WDEL Video News. Here's Chris Carl.
Among Delaware's top stories for Friday, January 26th, higher road tolls and cigarette taxes, part of Governor Minter's budget proposal. The bomb squad is called out after a bank robber leaves behind a suspicious package. And so far, so good for a UD skater. Here are the details. It didn't come as early as expected, but a weather system that moved into the area last night could make for a slippery drive. AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg says today will be colder than we've seen in quite some time. Temperatures in the mid-20s, accompanied by winds that'll make it feel like single digits and teens.
I think there were really two fronts that came through the area. There was one that came through fairly early in the afternoon, and there really wasn't much with that, but it started the temperature to fall backward a little bit. We reached our high during the midday hours. Then a second front came through overnight during the early nighttime hours, and that's the one that was accompanied by the snow squalls, and the temperatures did drop quickly below freezing once that system passed. And it really wasn't the amount of snow, but the fact that the temperature went from above freezing to below it like that, and then any snow that hit melted and then froze up, and that's what is making a real skating rink around the area this morning.
Governor Minter unveils her spending plan for fiscal year 2008. WDEL legislative correspondent Carl Konevsky reports from Dover.
Balancing increased demand for services with federal cuts, Governor Minter released her $3.2 billion budget. J.J. Davis, director of the Office of Management and Budget, says the spending plan is an increase of 4.7% over last year and addresses the state's most critical needs for success.
There are significant demands placed on the state. You saw the population growth is about 8.7% over the last couple of years. Caseloads are going up. There are more kids in the classroom. So there were a lot of challenging issues.
The breakdown of each budget dollar sends 34 cents of each of your tax dollars to public education, 27 cents to health and social services, 7.5 cents to corrections, and 7.4 cents to higher education. $1.1 billion for the Department of Education includes $13.6 million for full-day kindergarten, fully implementing the program in 11 districts and 8 charter schools. The governor also proposes to accomplish her goal of a math specialist in every middle school in the state.
This will help those students who are having problems with math so that they don't fall behind. This year we will add the remaining 10 math specialists we need to complete the program at a cost of approximately $700,000.
As mentioned in her State of the State address last week, the governor proposed raising the state's cigarette tax to $1 a pack to fund health initiatives.
This would not only help cut down on youth smoking, but it would create the Delaware Healthy Life Fund. This fund would focus on the health needs of our state's most at-risk population for the uninsured and underinsured. We would put $5 million to fund the initiatives.
The governor also proposes almost $10 million for operation of the state's Veterans Home, $4.5 million to reduce infant mortality, and $16 million to implement recommendations of the Cancer Council. The governor also asked for money to add 6 new state troopers to the force. She pledged to have 680 troopers on board by the time she finishes her time in office. These 6 would bring the total to 661. Finally, the governor says she's found a new funding source for DelDOT's shortfall. The governor's proposed budget for the Transportation Trust Fund calls for new revenues to raise money, suggesting raising the state's documentation fee. But Transportation Secretary Carol Ann Wick says that's just the beginning.
Increasing the gas tax, looking at vehicle registration fees, looking at the tolls on Route 1, looking at taking away the discount on Route 1, and then increasing tolls in the year after.
If approved by the General Assembly, Easy Pass discounts along Route 1 would disappear September 1st, the same time new gas taxes and vehicle registration and documentation fees go into effect. Reporting from Legislative Hall in Dover, I'm Carl Konevsky, 1150 a.m. WDEL.
The 2 children are nursing minor injuries after being hit by a car while boarding their school bus yesterday morning near Newcastle. It happened on Vane Court in Hampton Green just before 8 o'clock. Police say 28-year-old Hikam Bukra drove on the sidewalk to try to get around the bus, hitting a 6-year-old and an 11-year-old. The kids were treated and released from Christiana Hospital. Bukra charged with 2 counts of reckless endangering and several traffic violations. The General Assembly needs an injured reserve list. Details on some sick lawmakers coming up as WDEL News continues in a moment.
You could spend your money at the gas pump, or you could spend it on those sexy pumps at your favorite store. Let DART do the driving. Travel smart. Choose DART.
A lunchtime bank robbery turns into a bomb scare after the robber leaves behind a backpack. Details from WDEL's Curtis Gray.
State police say a section of Concord Pike was closed for a short while following the robbery at the Wachovia Bank and the Fairfax Shopping Center. Some businesses were evacuated after the man fled, claiming to have a bomb inside the backpack.
He was holding a backpack over his shoulder, implied he had a weapon inside the backpack, and demanded cash from the clerk. He then obtained the cash and fled the store, leaving the backpack behind. Based on his threats and the fact it was a robbery, we needed to deem the package safe. Detectives on scene called the Delaware State Police Explosive Ordnance Group, or bomb squad, if you will.
State Police spokesman Corporal Jeffrey Whitmarsh says nothing was found inside the backpack during the investigation by the bomb squad. Just before 2 p.m., the businesses, including WSFS Bank, were reopened and traffic resumed in the area. The robber was not apprehended. I'm Curtis Gray, 11:50 a.m., WDEL.
Millsboro Republican Representative John Atkins had his gallbladder removed yesterday. His wife drove him to Beebe Medical Center early Wednesday morning. Doctors suspect gallstones were responsible for the problem. Atkins, who was under investigation by the House Ethics Committee for his conduct after being stopped by police in Ocean City, Maryland, on suspicion of drunken driving, says he's sorry to have missed 2 days of the session. Meantime, Senator Jim Vaughn of Smyrna is out of the hospital and recuperating from pneumonia at a rehabilitation center in Milford. Vaughn is hoping to be back at work when the legislative session resumes in March, possibly sooner. He's a member of the Joint Finance Committee, which is about to begin 6 weeks of budget hearings. And Newark area Senator Dave Cicola says he's going under the knife. Cicola says he's tried a variety of methods to cure a nagging back problem, but none have worked, so he's going to have surgery soon. He expects to recover in time for this year's annual spring bike ride from Wilmington to Legislative Hall in Dover. Well, state police are investigating 2 church burglaries in southern Newcastle County. State Police spokesman Corporal Jeff Whitmarsh says it happened sometime Monday night into Tuesday morning, less than 5 miles apart. The first happened at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on Clark Farm Road and the Free Will Baptist Church on DuPont Parkway. Police think the 2 burglaries may be the work of the same people. Wilmington will throw an 18-month-long party to celebrate the 100th birthday of the city's train station. A new group called the Friends of the Furnace Railroad District will lead the celebration, kicking off Sunday. The organization is named for Frank Furnace, the man who designed the station. And local architect Jim Treval says Wilmington should be proud of the station and surrounding buildings.
Of the literally hundreds of buildings designed by Furnace over those great years of railroading, we have the only remaining complex, multiple buildings of that Victorian architects. No other city in the country has what we have.
Michael Lewis, a historian who wrote a book about Furnace, says the designer's style was ahead of his time, making Wilmington's building unique.
It was Furnace's perverse quirk to lay bare the facts of industry and not to conceal them, but rather to flaunt them, to show every rivet and bolt as if it were sequins on a cocktail dress.
Festivities begin at 2 o'clock on Sunday with model train shows, historical displays, and tours of the station, and it's all free. A battle for first place for the UD women's basketball team. WDEL Sports and your Delaware AccuWeather forecast coming up.
As you look for your college experience, make sure you look at Wilmington College, your key to success.
In WDEL Sports, the Delaware women's basketball team is no longer in first place in the CAA. The Hens committed 21 turnovers and losing to James Madison last night 73-65, Delaware's first conference loss of the year. The Dukes are 8-0 in the conference. Delaware falls to 7-1. Tyresa Smith had 17 points and 12 rebounds for the Hens. Courtney Irving added 14 points and 7 boards. And Kimmy Meissner holds a lead over her competitors after the short program in the U.S. Figure Skating Championships. The University of Delaware trained skater is the favorite in the competition after winning the world title last year. In the men's competition, Newark's Johnny Weir is in second place, but less than a point behind the leader. Your WDEL Delaware AccuWeather forecast: sun and clouds through today. Windy, a high 29, but wind chills in the single digits and teens. Tonight mostly cloudy early, then some clearing, low 22. Tomorrow partly sunny and milder with a high of 46. We could see some rain or wet snow on Sunday. Good news updates throughout the day. Delaware's top stories at the top of the hour on 11:50 a.m. WDEL for anytime right here at WDEL.com, including news video from Delaware and around the world from WDEL and the Associated Press. I'm Chris Carl. Have a great weekend.